Hey guys, this podcast is brought to you by all of our wonderful fans and listeners out there. If you want to check out the podcast, of course, you can go over to aapodcast.com/join. You're going to get all of our extra content. We're going to be doing a hentai episode today where I'm going to have Mason and a special guest play hentai or ecchi anime, which is going to be a lot of fun. So you can check that out over at aapodcast.com/join. You can also get it over on Patreon. And hey, you're going to help this podcast keep running. We'll keep bringing you excellent content, plus the bonus content, and of course, we will love you forever. And now, time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
And welcome to the 590th episode of the AAA podcast. I am Caroline. I'll be driving the ship today. We also got Mitsugi, who is drinking what today?
Well, I got a pink monster. I bought a whole case of it. It's down in the drink fridge. 24 beautiful pink cylinders of Ultra Rosé, baby. Let's get it going.
How does it compare to others on your favorite monsters?
I don't know. It's probably like, right now it's probably like my third favorite, but I like to try to rotate the colors so I don't get bored. So.
Absolutely. Rotate the colors, not the flavors though. We got Mason too. Do you have a blue cup today, or are you still on your search?
I do not. And I realized a bigger emergency than the hurricane that is happening outside my window right this second is that I forgot to refill my beverage cup. So you can see I'm at like 37% capacity. On this tiny cup, so I will be dying of thirst for the first part of this episode.
Just stick your head out the window, Mason. You'll be given all the water you can.
I gotta say, for a guy who's like all on the water, he's like, oh, I'm the water boy, I'm the water man. You got this puny little cup. Look at this. Look at what I got here. Half a gallon, baby. 2,500 milliliters.
Mason,
oh my goodness,
do you think
he's
we
drinking.
Should open up like...
I'm even thirstier now.
Do you think we should open up like a PO box for people to send blue cups to you?
We should.
Yeah,
we absolutely should.
Absolutely. I should remedy this post haste. But no, glad to be here, everyone. Hopefully, my internet and power makes it through the next couple hours to regale you with some terrible anime takes, which is what I do every week.
How's the weather right now? Is it very powerful? Do you fear for your life?
Nope, it's died down. I have pulled up the Google tracker, and it was last updated like 3 hours ago, so what good does that tell me? But it's between where it currently is at and where it's headed to, there's like a straight red line that literally goes over my house right now, so we will see.
Well, yeah, we shall.
Once upon a time...
If you would like to join us... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mitsugi.
Once upon a time, I actually podcasted during a legit like Cat 4 that was slamming into Tampa Bay. I think that was a lot of fun, but you know.
Yeah, they just hit a little bit differently in the Northeast. We don't have quite the same intensity.
I know.
Well, as I was saying, if you would like to watch this podcast live with all three of our beautiful faces, you can see the not blue cup of Mason. You can see whatever color monster Mitsugi's drinking today, and you can see my lovely, gorgeous, model-esque face. You can go to twitch.tv/AAA podcast. We are live every Sunday at 5 p.m. EDT. Of course, we are also on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord. And Discord is like the life of the party, so just join us there. It's good fun. So, what are we going to be doing today, guys?
I'm growing out my beard a little bit to get a head start on my Castaway look. AKA I forgot to say.
Not what I was asking.
What are we doing in the podcast today?
I'm always talking to your hair follicles.
We're going to be talking about what we have been watching. And Mitz will be the broken little horse again. He's going to be like he's just like this dead carcass that Mason and Caroline are gonna be like, Caroline is probably riding the horse, and she's like cracking the whip. She's got the stirrups. She's like digging him in. Mason's like the machine. He's seen like every anime ever made. It's incredible. And Mitz is like this dead
mecha horse.
Yeah, you're like Mecha Godzilla, and I'm like this dead animal that smells, and you're like dragging me behind the wagon.
Oh, you don't smell that bad.
I do. I smell.
I mean, you could use a little Febreze here and there, but
Jeez.
I smell worse.
You're just being gracious and giving us time to talk about what we're talking about.
And we're also going to talk about Godzilla Singular Point, because that was my anime, and we'll see how that goes.
You're regretting it?
I don't want to bury the lead. We'll have to see. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. That's all I'll say. So we'll have to find out. That's about it.
Well, first of all, I think we should head into our big news of the week, as we always do.
We should.
It's time for big news of the week.
Just something fun. Mamoru Hosoda had an article somewhere where he was talking about the 5 anime that you must see. So, these are like, according to an older anime fan. So, this was on the television program, The Most Useful School in the World, which is, I guess, a TV show in Japan. And he was talking about the 5 shows that were the most influential to his life, because they all came out really, really, really early, like in anime's history. And I guess this was like formative for him because he was in 6th grade when these came out. And I'm curious how many of you guys have seen any of these, and I'm not going to say that I've seen a bunch of these, but we're going to find out. Number 1 on the list was, I got drops for this.
Number 1.
Anne of Green Gables. I think Anne of Green Gables is a Takahata anime. I haven't seen it. I gotta check that, make sure.
It's good.
Yeah. Mason's seen it. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it, Caroline?
Nope. I've heard of it, but I honestly could not tell you what it is about.
If it's on Retro Crush, I might check this out. It's a 50 episode show. It came out in 1979. I think these all came out in 1979, but it's just Mason says it's good. It's about a little girl who gets taken into a house. The Cuthbert house in Avonlea, and the elderly occupants were looking for a young boy to help in the fields, but they're shocked when they realize that Anne is a girl. Oh my God! So
I mean, it's a world masterpiece theater. It's a classic book, a classic adaptation. Yeah. Matthew is such a Chad. He's so cool. He's so low key. He's the best boy ever. If you know what he looks like, you know why I'm laughing to myself. But he is really
Chad.
Cool. He's such a boss.
Such a Chad.
But it's just a classic anime.
The next one is Aim for the Best. It's a film known as Aim for the Ace, and it is quintessential anime directed by Osamu Dezai, which encapsulates his sort of approach to storytelling. So I haven't seen Aim for the Ace either. Mason?
I have seen a bit of it. I wasn't the biggest fan. This is a tennis one. I have seen Aim for the Top, which is Gunbuster, which is nothing at all like it. But no. Aim for the Ace is all right, but maybe I should give it a second chance if Hosoda says I should.
Gunbuster, aka take your top off and whip your titties around. I don't know. Everybody in this Die Buster, Gunbuster, they're always like taking their clothes off. I don't know. It's weird. Caroline, have you seen Aim for the Ace? I have not.
No. And actually, I'll make this shorter for you. I have not seen anything on this list.
Okay. The next one's... I'm not playing the drops. What is wrong with me here? I gotta find number 3. Number 3. The original Mobile Suit Gundam, which needs no description. I haven't seen this either. Mason, didn't you watch some of this for another podcast recently?
No, I elected not to watch this one. I was on a different one, but I have seen Mobile Suit Gundam, at least the movies and a bunch of entries in it between like IBO and Thunderbolt and stuff like that. But I've seen a fair bit of Gundam and the trilogy movies. Gotcha.
The next one on the list, number 4. Is Galaxy Express 999, which I also haven't seen. God, I'm bad. This is a friggin' movie too. It's inexcusable.
You're plebeian to Mamoru Hosoda.
I am like an uncultured swine, basically. Like, play the oinking drops. Mason, I'm sure you've seen this.
I actually have not seen this.
Oh!
I mean, it's like 113 episodes.
No way!
No, this is the movie.
No way.
Oh, the movie? I don't think I've seen that either. Let me double check.
I need to watch this. And the last one I have seen, number 5,
Number 5.
Castle of Cagliostro, Lupin the Third. So, this is a really fun movie. This is a Ghibli related movie. So, it's pretty freaking good. So it's probably the best thing that's Lupin the Third. It's one of the better movies I think I've ever seen for anime. So Cagliostro is pretty solid. So those are the 5 movies you should see according to Mamoru Hosoda. Anne of Green Gables, Aim for the Ace, Mobile Suit Gundam, Galaxy Express 999, and Castle of Cagliostro, which all came out in the late 70s. So unless you're like watching really, really old stuff, people haven't seen it probably. So Caroline, what do you got going on?
Well, this one is going to be pretty quick, but it's, pretty exciting news is that Attack on Titan's final season, part 2, it has a set premiere date month, I guess. So you can look forward to seeing the second part of the final season in January 2022. And actually, before the new part airs, there's going to be a special compilation version of the story, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure none of us are really all that interested in. But there is going to be releases of the original anime DVDs, which includes telling the story from several characters' point of views. So that will also air. And I think that will be a little bit more interesting to watch than the compilation episodes where we really don't need it. So yeah, just exciting news. Glad to get the final part to this season, but who knows if that's actually going to be the final. I keep on having this thought in my head that there's going to be a movie of this at some point, like an actual movie to end it off.
I keep thinking the same thing, but really now what I'm thinking about most is if Eren Yeager is going to continue to be a little bastard in this last part of the final season, or if he's going to, quit being a little shit. I don't know. We're really excited for the last like just two or three times Attack on Titan surfaced in anime. It's been just fucking awesome. So it just gets better as it goes, and some of the action scenes have just been unfreaking believable. And
I'm still in the middle of the first part of the final season. I'm still trying to get through that.
Yeah, that final season.
Because it's not because it's bad, but because it requires a certain amount of preparation to watch these kind of episodes.
You gotta light the candles, get the food ready.
Yeah, I don't know what preparation you're alluding to.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, actually.
I don't know, just like, okay, what horrible stuff is going to happen in this episode,
You're mentally preparing yourself.
Who's going to die?
Yeah.
Is my question.
Yeah, I mean, the Attack on Titan final season, just as an aside, to me was like a tale of two halves for sure. I thought the first half was like some of the best anime I've ever seen, and then personally, I thought the second half really petered out a lot and kind of became a lot slower. And I think the sort of reviews online reflected that. As it was going, it was interesting to see like people's reviews of the show. It went from being like the number one anime ever reviewed to dropping like down about 25 slots or so because people just I don't think they like the second half as much as the first half. People want to watch Titans like, throwing like cars at people and shit. They don't want to watch all this talking and crap. Honestly,
there are no cars in Attack on Titan.
I disagree.
Or wait, are there in the other? I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but like, I guess there's a different part that does have cars, but I actually don't know.
I mean, there's like a whole city in the final part of the first part of the final season.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember if there were actually cars there or not.
I mean, on the island they have. I don't know if they have cars, but in the mainland there's definitely cars. So, anyway, I assume most people have seen at least most of Attack on Titan. Well, I'm excited. Mason, what do you got?
I've got a funny little story about the Shonen Jump Plus reality show winner was announced. There's a YouTube series called Million Tag, which is done by Shonen Jump. You can find it over on their YouTube page, and it is all subtitled if you want to watch it. But it's what they call a quote-unquote battle audition, which is a show for discovering the next big manga talent. And that the winner of this game show, spoilers, is Naoki Fujita for his beat and motion manga.
Oh, wow.
And for winning this manga competition, first and most importantly, in regards to this podcast, it will become an anime as done by Netflix. So that's kind of cool, as well as obviously winning a monetary prize, as well as having this manga published in Shonen Jump, as well as a compilation volume. So a pretty cool thing that you can all watch on YouTube. So I have not seen it, but I'm kind of curious to check it out and see how they judge these teams of manga creators, of which there were 6, and kind of get a preview for, I guess, what is going to be an anime on the horizon in beat and motion. So I think that's kind of a cool concept and way to like raise awareness and entertainment and marketing all at once. So Million Tag, go check it out on YouTube.
I have a question I want to ask you guys. I'm kind of curious about the answer.
Yeah.
You have a choice. You are a manga artist, and you have a choice. You either get the 50, we'll just call it 50 grand. You get the 50 grand prize, $50,000 of cash in your pocket, and we'll say non-taxable. Or you get to have your manga made into an anime, but you get no money from it. What do you choose?
Definitely the anime adaptation.
I can't even think of... Sorry, go ahead.
No. Answer first.
Oh, I mean, I don't even think anything of my creation would be worth becoming an anime, let alone a manga or anything like that. So,
well, you've already
if it was good enough to win a competition.
Yeah. In the theoretical example, your manga was good enough to win the prize, but would you rather have 50 grand or no money and have it made into an anime?
Maybe take 50 grand, and if it was good enough to win a prize, it'd become an anime anyway.
No, you can't pick both. That's not how this works.
I'm taking the possibility that I might become an anime in the future.
No, that's not how if you could have
she's making this frowny
pie,
face.
What would you have? Well, I'd eat the cake, and hopefully there's pie left over for me to eat that too. Like, that's not how I would...
It's a valid answer.
Wishful thinking. I guess I can't complain.
Pancake has brought me something in a styrofoam container.
What do we have?
It's chicken. Korean barbecue chicken. Oh my god.
Oh, we take that. That's a W.
I don't deserve her. You put that up there. I'll eat that in a second. Maybe I can't eat that on camera. It's too messy.
Well, that's what this Mitsugi's mom knows.
You don't want to hear your mouth noises.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear my mouth noises. Speaking of just Mitsugi's mom, by the way, I'll take the money. I don't know, 50 grand invested right now correctly is worth like, by the time I retire, 50 grand is probably going to be worth at least 150 grand. So it really, to me, it's more, that's how I think. But do we have a player for this Mitsugi's mom now, or are we still struggling to find a last minute?
No, we have them ready to go.
We have somebody lined up. They are in the room.
You damn right. Well, in this case, it's time for Does Mitsugi's Mom Know? Oh! It's time for Does Mitsugi's Mom Know? The game show that pits Mitsugi's unassuming mother against anime's most basic questions. Now here are your hosts, the Anime Addicts. All right, it's time for Does Mitsugi's Mom Know? Whoa!
Whoa!
The game show where my mother will try to stump our fantastic Discord denizens with her haphazard knowledge of anime. And on the phone, we have Run Life. How are you, Run Life? And where are you calling from?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Of course. Yeah. You sound very good.
Awesome. I am calling from the, currently very rainy state of Connecticut.
Oh my gosh, you're like right next to Mason.
Brethren.
It's amazing. All right. Well, I hope that the weather doesn't disrupt your clear thinking. We need to have clear skies with the thinking for this game because no one ever wins this game. It's really not that hard, but I think we probably 8 of the last 10 people have lost. How confident are you feeling, Run Life, that you're going to win this game today?
I think I've learned some things from my years watching the podcast, but with your mom, I guess we would never really know.
That's the point, isn't it? All right, well, I know you know the rules of the game, but I'm going to explain it to you just for the new listeners we most likely have that are not on the phone. So my mother has seen quite a bit of anime. I think, and recently some younger people were forcing her to watch like Danganronpa and some of the other things that like younger people watch,
dear.
and she was like, I do not like Danganronpa. I was like, well, I don't. It seems not really up your alley, but she's seen quite a bit of anime, but her knowledge is very kind of spotty. And I'm gonna ask her 5 questions, and your job is to figure out if she will know the answer to the questions, easy though they are for most people, and I'm assuming yourself as well. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, I think I'm all set.
All right. Well, I'm not giving the sample questions anymore. I think it's easy enough without them. So here's your message.
Good luck, lucky player.
yeah.
With me, it's you never know.
Yeah, that's no shit. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Run life. Good luck. What do the girls bring their mother at the end of the film My Neighbor Totoro? Ooh. Sounds easy, but
Yeah, it's a tough one because I know she's seen Ghibli films.
it's an ear of corn, by the way. If you haven't seen the movie, it's an ear of corn, is the answer.
Right, okay. I think I'm gonna say that she does know this one.
All right, should I lock you in?
Go for it.
What do the girls bring their mother at the end of the film My Neighbor Totoro?
That's a kind of a trick question
How is that a trick question?
because they don't actually give it to her in person. They're up in a tree.
Oh, they put it right on her window.
Yes, so it's a freshly picked ear of corn.
All right. I gotta admit, I kind of threw that one in as a softball, but I just want to have a winner so badly. So very pleased, and the children, they are pleased as well.
Hey, Mitsugi,
Yes.
are you ever surprised by your mother's knowledge, or is it always stuff that you know that she'll know this or not know this?
I was pretty sure she would know that question.
Yeah.
But sometimes I ask questions that I think that people that from the audience will think is easy because they've seen it for sure. Like everyone has seen Demon Slayer, so I think some people think, oh, Demon Slayer, everybody on Earth has seen that. But then I maybe my mother hasn't seen it. But sometimes, even though I expect her to miss those, she guesses eerily accurately. She would just guess and just pull it out of her ass. So that's kind of how it goes sometimes. But Run Life, you're hot as fire right now. You're cooking in the kitchen. Are you feeling good?
We'll see when I get the next question.
It's gonna get harder from here. Here's your second.
I like how reserved he is. He's not coming in too bold, not letting it go to his head.
He doesn't want to jinx it.
Confident but reserved. I like it. Keep it up.
He doesn't want to jinx it. All right, here's your next question. The anime Persona 4, the animation, is based after a video game on what video game console? Persona 4 came out on PS2. And then they were just like, fuck PS3, and then like Persona 5 didn't come out all the way until PS4, I think. So that PS2 is the answer. I did play this game, but does my mother know the answer to that question? What do you think?
Okay, I don't think she knows it, and I guess her chances of guessing are they gotta be decent, but there's a lot of consoles she could go wrong with too. I'm gonna say she doesn't know it.
She doesn't know it. All right, am I locking you in?
Yes, sir.
The anime Persona 4, the animation, is based after a video game on what video game console?
I can't think of all the consoles, so I'll just say PlayStation 4.
I'm sorry, it's PlayStation 2.
Oh.
You were awfully close. Wow. You know what? That's one of those questions where I feel like she would have guessed correctly, but she it was one of 4 consoles, really, in all fairness. But great job, Run Life. You're 2 for 2. Now are you feeling good?
A little better. My heart sunk a little bit when she said PlayStation.
Just left it at that. I was gonna say if she said PlayStation Vita, I would have accepted it. I doubt she knows what a PlayStation Vita is. But...
She never would have gone for that. All right, let's not make you wait. You're hot right now. All right, you ready for your third question?
Hit me with it.
I want you to know that people have lost this game after getting 2 in a row correct, so I'm hoping that you're not the next person to do that. The anime Love Hina takes place primarily in what kind of house? It's a bathhouse. Love Hina. Definitely watched Love Hina when I was young. Quite a lot on DVD. But does she know that it's a bathhouse? Ooh.
I would love if she just said it's a duplex.
I don't remember what she answers, but I recorded these clear back in May, so.
Okay, yeah, this is a tough one.
I can't remember the name of the bathhouse, but it's like most of the anime takes place in the bathhouse.
I don't think she's gonna know this one either.
All right. She does not know that it's a bathhouse. Should I lock you in?
Yeah, you can lock me in. She does not know.
You have a great mic, by the way. What are you talking to us on right now?
Some USB mic. I haven't used it much. It's like a toner TC something or other.
It's very clear. I appreciate it. Here you go. Here's your answer. The anime Love Hina takes place primarily in what kind of house?
A brothel.
It seems like a brothel sometimes. It's
Why
a
does she
bathhouse.
automatically go to brothel?
Oh, a
bathhouse.
bathhouse. Oh, okay.
Wow.
I mean, if you've seen Love Hina,
I don't think she ever watched Love Hina. I used to watch that, but I don't think she ever watched it. Run Life, you have been quite the performer today. I don't even know what to say. I'm somewhat speechless. Do you have a victory speech that you have prepared?
I'd like to thank the Church of Moe for all my
Oh.
successes.
yes.
Oh no.
That's the opposite of the Church of Mitsugi, isn't it?
Something like that.
Oh, this is just.
Coming in last second, no prep, great mic, hitting all of them out of the park. Just a clutch performance all the way around. You love to see it.
Well, I'm going to reach out to you after the show because you are a great winner and we want to reward our winners. So we will be letting you select something fantastic. It won't be overly fantastic. Don't get too excited. Don't like call your bank or your investment guy or anything like that. But it might be enough for you to buy 5 or 6 boxes of Pocky if you want to, or something. But thanks for calling in and I appreciate that you won because we want good feelings. So, and I hope you will weather the hurricane very well.
Thanks so much.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, champion.
Oh, shit. All right. And we're back on the podcast. Wow. I love it when we have winners, I got to say, because it's like I'm trying to give prizes away, but almost no one wins the game. So, oh boy. Would you guys like to try the other 2 questions since I have them ready here for you?
Well, show
Sure. I think every answer is going to be brothel from here on out, though.
That's
Though that
something-
answer does make sense when you know Love Hina and know how promiscuous the situations get into.
Honestly, it should have been a brothel, but the whatever the main Keitaro, I think his name is, he just had no guts at all. So, all right, let's yeah, it should have been a brothel. It would have been better as a hentai probably. In Chobits, what is the name of the tiny pink persicom that hangs around with Chi and Hideki? My mother's definitely seen Chobits. We watched this whole anime end to end.
That was what I was going to ask. I'd say she knows it then.
I will say that she does not.
Ooh, differences of opinion. The little persicom's name is Sumomo, in case you didn't know, which I don't know, it's a dumb name. It has peach in the name. All right, here is the for those of you playing at home, and for you two, here's the answer. In Chobits, what is the name of the tiny pink persicom that hangs around with Chi and Hideki?
I thought you were going to ask me about Chi. You know how
Sorry.
long it's been since we've seen Chobits?
20 years. You just got to know the little pink one's name.
Chi Chi.
You think they're called Chi and Chi Chi?
I don't know.
Jesus. Yeah, her name is Sumomo. That would have been. I wouldn't put it past animated to do that and make their character's name Chi and Chi Chi, but that would have been pretty
Well,
dumb.
America has a
Pretty
show,
funny.
Ed, and Eddie.
Oh,
Or
that's
not
true.
that much better.
Is that still on TV?
I don't think so.
All right, we have one last question.
Kind of like Boomerang nowadays.
Yeah, one last question for you guys. In the Demon Slayer film, the character Rengoku continually says the word umai as he first appears in the movie while he is eating. What does the word umai mean?
Oh, see, that's why you brought up Demon Slayer earlier. I get you. The through line. I'm gonna say she knows.
I'm gonna say she knows just based on context.
In the Demon Slayer film, the character Rengoku continually says the word umai as he first
Umai.
appears in the movie while he is eating. What does the word umai mean?
It means bless this food.
Close.
What?
She saw the subtitles for Itadakimasu and thought it was that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks again to Run Life for playing, and even a bigger thanks for winning. So, and we'll continue to play this game. I think I have enough for maybe 3 more games, and then we'll have to record some more questions. So,
And
right.
even a larger for doing the segment, which gave me a chance to run away and refill the water, boys. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, lads.
Oh, thank God.
Mason running through
What
the house.
were we gonna do?
Getting water while the cameras are off.
Exactly.
Well, you do your eye drops while the cameras are off.
Yeah, but
No, he
nobody wants
doesn't
to
while
watch.
it's on.
Nobody wants to watch me eye drop while I'm on camera. That's about the same
The
as
Twitch
eating.
people love it.
They do?
They do. They go nuts
They
every
mention
time.
it every single time. Oh, he's going to do his eye drops.
I got the eye drops right here. The pollution in Denver is horrendous. It's like living in, I don't even know, like Satan's underpants when he farts. I mean, it's like brutal. So we have wildfires. We have the pollution from the city. It's all trapped by the mountains. Oh, and we have like ozone pollution because like there's no because we're like up in the friggin' clouds. So it's pretty rough. Caroline, what are we doing now?
We are going to be talking about what we have been watching for the past month or so. Oh, and there we go.
There, I did it.
There goes the eye drops.
I did it, and I did it on camera just so that everybody would feel happy. Although I
Are your
think
eyeballs feeling moist?
I gotta say, honestly, like these, whatever the hell they put in these eye drops it feels tremendous when you put it in your eyes. It is, it's not like a normal eye drop. It's like a special kind of gooey eye drop, and it feels fantastic, especially fresh out of the refrigerator. So,
You put it
All
next
right.
to like your orange juice and that kind of stuff.
yeah, put orange juice in your eye. See how that'll feel.
No,
You probably-
like it's right next to the orange juice in the refrigerator.
It's on the door in the middle shelf in a basket. I have like I don't even know how many tubes of this shit. Maybe a little bit over 100 tubes probably, and it just sits there. And I use maybe 4 of them a day. Well, guys, I haven't watched much this month. I don't know. I'm watching my anime for the podcast, and that's about all I can get done, generally speaking. So. But I did watch a little bit of extracurriculars. I watched the beginning portion. I showed Pancake the beginning portion of the Vision of Escaflowne the other night, and Escaflowne is so good. Like it's sort of ridiculous that I feel like probably the majority of the average anime fans today haven't seen a Vision of Escaflowne because it's old now. It's a little over 20 years old, which is really shocking to me. It only has a 7.7 on my anime list, which is just flat out wrong. That's like ridiculous. I don't even know how that's possible, honestly. But Vision of Escaflowne came out in 1996 in the spring, and it's a Sunrise anime that just has so many fantastic things about it. Have you guys seen this?
Nope.
Of course I have.
I mean, don't you think a 7.7 is a little rough for Escaflowne? It should be in the 8s somewhere.
I think the music is very good in this show. I'll say that.
Okay, yeah, the music, Yoko Kanno. This is like Yoko Kanno, probably the anime she did before. I'm not sure if there was anything between this and Cowboy Bebop, but I'm guessing maybe not because I think Cowboy Bebop came out like approximately 2 years after this show did, and she was just like out of her mind for about this like 3 or 4 year period where she just smashed faces on this music. She does pretty much all the music in the show. She's dragging Maya Sakamoto around with her, who, by the way, voices the main character, and she sings like half the music. And Maya Sakamoto is like always doing the stuff for Yoko Kanno, and the combination of the two of them is just fucking unbelievable. I mean, the Escaflowne soundtrack might be, honestly, it's like it's in the conversation for best OSTs ever, probably. I don't even know like. I feel like they spend more money on the music in this show than like some animes now, just like for the whole production. Like you got like some of these songs have like literally like a full orchestra plus a piano plus a full choir. Like it's just fucking crazy. The music, it looks outstanding. I love the Escaflowne's mecha design, and the I showed it to Pancake because it definitely has like some shoujo tones to it. It's not listed as a shoujo on my anime list, but I kind of disagree. I think it is. I think it does have some shoujo beats to it, and she finished
For sure.
Yeah, she finished Fruits Basket, and I was like, oh, maybe find some other like sort of romancy show, to show her. And the first few episodes of Escaflowne are just unbelievable. I mean, they move so quick, and it is an isekai. I don't think it's listed as isekai on here, but it should be. And it starts off with this girl Hitomi who's like in high school, and she's on the track team, and she just gets like sucked into this other world by when this kid named Vaughn teleports like into her right onto the track and starts fighting like a dragon as part of his rite of passage as the king of this kingdom. And you get like a huge, like a cool fight with a dragon, and there's like some war scenes in the first 3 episodes, and it just moves a million miles an hour, at least at the beginning, and it's really easy to get yourself sucked into, both because the music is great and because Escaflowne, the fucking mech design is so cool. And and I don't know about you guys, but it's a real robot show. I do not like super robot anime at all. And the difference would be like real robot shows are like where the robot is limited in power. It looks like a machine that a human being built. Whereas like a super robot is like flying around in outer space, like Gurren Lagann, like throwing planets around and all this shit. But the Escaflowne, like he gets in there and like they're showing you how he clips into the seat, like the mechanics of how the thing moves. They show you the pedals moving. It's got like the gears moving. It's fucking cool. And by the way, it can transform into a dragon and fly, which is super neat. So, do you have anything you want to say, Mason, on Escaflowne? I mean,
yeah, I've seen it. I don't want to hamper your enjoyment on it. You mentioned the 3 to 4 year like stretch of Yoko Kanno being a beast. I'd say it's more like a 3 to 4 decade segment.
Well,
She's still a hoss, but I know what you mean. It was definitely around the same time. And actually, following that, she did the music obviously for both the Escaflowne movie and the Bebop movie, and those were also both right next to each other. So it came in pairs. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting watch.
Yoko Kanno.
Say it like that.
How old is Yoko Kanno now? She's
immortal.
She's not that old. That can't be right.
60s?
She's not even 60 yet. This lady's going to be making music forever. Man, she's got so many good credits. She's done like the music for practically all of Macross. Macross 7, Macross F, Macross... there's like 7 or 8 Macross credits in your Macross Plus.
Don't tell me that she wrote My Boyfriend is the Pilot.
No, that's not our girl.
Yeah, she's done so much good shit. Wolf's Rain, Space Dandy, Razaphon. Razaphone's pretty interesting. So, Darker Than Black, it's just so much stuff. So, all right. Well, what's next, guys? I don't want to belabor my point here.
I can go first.
Yeah.
The first show I want to talk about is called Tree in the Sun. This is a 25 episode show by Studio Madhouse, based, I should say, on Osamu Tezuka's manga. The final of his 3 medical dramas. Obviously, Ode to Kirihito and more famously Blackjack are the other 2. But Tree in the Sun is actually based on the life of Tezuka's real-life ancestor, Jouran Tezuka, who, if you don't know, Osamu Tezuka himself is a doctor. So there kind of is this cool like lineage of medical practice. And Tree in the Sun tells the story of 2 young men around the era of the Meiji Restoration, when you get the transition from the Edo period, and like all this turbulence and social upheaval in Japan in like the 1800s. And it's kind of slice of life. It's kind of historical, real life events all kind of mixed together. And it's interesting. It's very worthwhile watching in modern 2020, 2021 times, because the main character that is based on the ancestor of Tezuka, Rohan, like he is practicing this highly scandalous and illegal method of Western medicine, because he is, now get this, attempting to fight a smallpox outbreak with vaccines.
No way.
And there's
Witchcraft.
obviously exactly, and he's like persecuted for it, and like the government hunts him down, and like getting vaccines in the hands of people is like his like big focus. And for that to be going on right now in this era where vaccines are also a hot topic is quite interesting. So it's a pretty good show. It's from the 2000s, like early 2000s, so it's not the most visually striking, but it's fitting. It has that historical vibe to it, and it definitely helps to know the real life events happening during that time. I definitely would stop episodes and like look up what was going on broader picture to help get a sense of context. I will say one of the drawbacks is like the female representation in the show is not the best. I think half of it is just because of the nature of the characters are kind of not the nicest to them, and also just from that era, there was clearly more of a sexist divide between people. So it's not the easiest pill to swallow, but overall it was a pretty good entry. I enjoyed my time with it. I would say it's for fans of House of the Five Leaves, Hyogemono, and maybe Blackjack. So if you like Tezuko's stuff, this seems to be kind of under the radar, and it's worth a shot. So Tree in the Sun, give it a shot.
All right. Well, I recently finished the first season of Zombieland Saga, of course, in preparation to review the second season when that comes up. This has been on my watch list for so long because a lot of people were talking about Zombieland Saga when it first came out. But I just never got to it. And as everyone knows, my watch list is eternally the same. Like, I never get back to my watch list, and this is finally one that I actually did. And it was good. Honestly, not what I was expecting, I guess. I don't know. It just didn't really
what were you
fit
expecting?
my idea of what this... I don't really know. I guess not like the craziness that it was. I thought it'd be a little bit less crazy, but I don't know.
Zombie idols are gonna definitely be more chill.
I don't know. I was not expecting the glasses guy. What's his? I can't remember his name.
The
glasses
the
guy
manager.
Yeah, the manager. He was a lot. He was very funny, but sometimes it got to the point where can you just like dial it back just slightly?
Yeah, he's insane.
But yeah, I did enjoy. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed him when he wasn't a little much all the time. So that was fun. I can now see why. What's her name? Tai, or the girl that. Yeah,
the one who
the
drew
legendary Tai Yamada. I can now see why everybody loves her the best. Because she is a star despite being a zombie star still. And yeah, I mean, the last couple episodes were a little bit of a slog to get through because it gets to that point where, okay, so here we have the main character. She is in her like upset phase where everything sucks and she hates her life and
blah.
A lot of crying, a lot of I'm going to be the biggest Debbie Downer there is. And it's just, it takes so long to get through that part of the show. It's just, can we wrap this up in one episode and not two? I thought it was strange how the CGI got better as the show went along. Yeah, the mix of characters were great. I really enjoyed the characters in this show.
The characters are so good in that show. Definitely the strongest part of it.
Yeah, so... I did think it was a little bit crazy that this entire, like, it's, I guess spoilers, and not really all that big of a deal, but this building is, like, getting destroyed at the end of the season. They're still putting on a show. Meanwhile, this place is definitely not up to code for it to be taken down by a snowstorm. Literally, and they're still performing, and people are still in the building cheering them on, which is great. But you guys should probably leave now. But yeah, it was fun. I'm excited to get into season 2, but I'm waiting until the review gets closer.
You're definitely a trooper. I mean, I am not gonna rewatch Zombieland Saga. I didn't finish it the first time. I'm not gonna, I think I watched 4 episodes of it, but I'm not gonna watch the rest for the second season. I doubt it's required. So, I mean, maybe it is.
It wasn't a rewatch, but.
No, I know you're just a trooper because you're getting prepared for the second season. It's like I'll just go in with no context. But Caroline's too good, so
I can't make any promises for Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I don't think I can get through the first season when I wasn't really interested in it in the first place.
All right, well, I guess it's
But
back
yeah.
to Mason. I will say that I have an anime here that I want to watch. I really want. Oh no, I have another anime I can talk about. I'm gonna write it down right now because I've watched almost this whole thing. I have been watching a very not good anime that, I mean, it's not awful, but it's just a very nostalgic show because it was on the Action Channel when I was a kid. See, back when I was a kid, you either got anime from
There was no
Blockbuster
TV.
or from like random shit on TV. Like there was some stuff on the Sci-Fi Network, there was some stuff on Action Channel. Action Channel is where I saw Dominion Tank Police and a couple other things, and maybe like Spriggan and some other shit. But Sci-Fi Network had a bunch of anime, and one of those was Blue Seed. I think Blue Seed was on Sci-Fi. And Blue Seed, where do I even start with this? This is the song. This is the one that has the theme song with the most horrific English in it ever. She says, "Mysterious Tokyo, show me your foxy night game." I was like,
what the
yeah, I was
heck
like, what does that even mean? Show me your foxy night game. And I was like, what the fuck? But this is a 1994 anime, 26 episodes, done by Production IG. And it's basically about this girl named Momiji who finds out that she is the reincarnation of Kushinada Hime, who is like in Japanese mythology, like she marries like Susanoo Oh, I think, who kills Orochi or something. I can't remember exactly all the lore of it, but and there are these monsters that keep appearing in Tokyo, and she has like the blood of the Kushinada in her, so she can like stop them from, she has like the power to stop the invasion or whatever. And the Aragami are like these plant monsters that are just like trashing Japan, and then on the side there's like a romance with her and this guy named what the hell's his name? His name is Kusanagi, and he's pretty cool. He's definitely a memorable character. He's probably the most memorable thing about this show because he has like a Magatama like in his chest, I think it is, and in Magatama you see them in like Persona. They're like these little like curly cued, like they almost look like the number 9, but they're kind of curved a little more, but they're like little gems. And he's pretty neat because he's got like he's part plant too, I think, and he can release like blades will come out of the side of his arm. It's almost like Wolverine, but instead of having claws, he like literally will have like giant blades coming out of the sides of his forearm. It's almost like something out of like Devilman Crybaby. But ultimately, this anime is not really that good. It's very Monster of the Week, and I think I'm on like episode 20, and really all they've done in 20 episodes is just, a monster will pop up, they'll fight it, they always win, and on the side, like Momiji has like the biggest crush on Kusanagi, and he's basically there to protect her, and he kind of like hides in the shadows and protects her, and he obviously has a thing for her too, so there's definitely some romance in there. It's described as being ecchi, but I disagree. I don't really think there's any ecchi in this like at all, so I don't really know where that's coming from, but it's probably not worth watching. But if you're looking for like the nostalgia of like watching anime on television, maybe some people forgot Blue Seed and you want to go check it out again. It is on Retro Crush, so it's free. Just go watch it if you want to watch it. But so that's what else I've been watching, and I can talk about some things that I want to watch, and then just to lengthen this. But back to Mason, I think.
Yeah, so next one I'll talk about is a show called Kannagi, Crazy Shrine Maidens, I think is the
Tree Stump Girl
title. Yeah, exactly. So this is a fun little comedy about this boy who is gifted a piece of wood to use for an art project, and he doesn't know that it's wood from a sacred tree that was cut down, and he crafts this little sculpture out of it, and he starts trying to take it to school, and it's really heavy, and he sets it down, and all of a sudden, the spirit contained within the sacred tree busts out, taking the form of a high school girl named Nagi, and she is the heart and soul of this series. She is very mischievous and easily gets into shenanigans where she tries to kind of continue her like godly task of cleansing spiritual impurities from the world, and essentially just giving the main character named Jin a hard time as she bosses him around and tries to fit in with classmates and be the magical girl she always wants to be. And I don't know about you, Mitz. I mostly enjoyed this show a lot more than I thought I would. It had like a good energy to it. It was just fun. It was way better animated than it had any right to be.
Um,
I don't know if you remember the show very much.
I mean, I've seen it for sure. I don't. I don't recall it being horrible. You know, I is the main girl kind of like a? Is she? I know she's carved out of wood or whatever, but is she kind of like a bratty character? I can't really remember.
Slightly. Like I
Yeah.
would put like if you liked Haruhi or Toradora or like Noragami, I'd say check out the show. It definitely has that like little bit of like I'm always in the right bossiness nature to it, which I'm not a fan of, but I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, this anime came out like right before we started podcasting, and I still think I managed to see it, which is kind of shocking. So I'm not really sure how I ran across that, but you know, because mostly I've just watched like I don't even know, probably close to 300 anime for the podcast, but this one is not one of those, so I must have watched it of my own volition. But nowadays, I don't think I would. I probably wouldn't like it all that much.
I definitely could not see you watching this show. This definitely scratches that like sweet spot of like the mid to late 2000s era shows. It has like Lucky Star references in it that were really good. I don't know. I just found it clever and better than I was expecting. So definitely, yeah, not a Mitz show, but I was entertained through most of it. The characters were really fun, and all the tropes and stuff that it uses, I think, were executed more than the average bear. So, Kannagi, thumbs up.
All right, Caroline.
All right. Let me give my conclusion on a show that I have spoken a lot about over in the past couple months that it was a thing. And that was Jouran, the princess of Ice and Blood or Snow and Blood, I
right.
can't remember. So I did speak about this, I think, probably last time on what we have been watching. But now that I have finished it, this was back in like June or July, so it was a little while ago. But I did finish it, and I just want to give my last thoughts on it, which was that it was probably right of me not to pass it in the season it came out. Because I would say the only thing that was absolutely great about the show was how it looked. And everything else kind of fell apart. I mentioned to you guys in our chat when I finished it that it had a banana fish-esque death at the end. And I can't elaborate on that or I'd spoil both Banana Fish and Jouran. But if anybody understands what I'm talking about, the death was very much like Banana Fish. And I did not like it. Because at the very end of the show, it felt like the main character, Yuki, right? That was like her code name was Yuki. But it felt like she didn't do anything at the end. And she is such a badass character, and I love to watch her, but it felt like the show ended without her actually doing anything of importance to finish the story. Like, even the climax was not between her and the big bad. It was the big bad against one of her supporting characters. And it's like, I want to see her fight. Why? I want to. It was so frustrating because I really, really wanted to like this show, but then it just kept on nailing the coffin every episode. I'm just like, why? Why did it have to look this good to not be as good as I wanted it to be? So that was frustrating, but I think they might even be setting it up for a second season based on the epilogue of the first season. And even the direction of that, I'm not all that thrilled by. How if there is going to be a second season, it's not going to be about something that I would like. So that is the funeral of Jouran for me, unfortunately.
So,
I'm just
are you
sad.
glad you passed Shadow's House instead?
I have not watched any more Shadow's House since we passed that, but I have a feeling it's definitely going to be better than this. Or of a better conversation, because I know I liked aspects of Jouran. I don't think you guys would have liked those same aspects.
No, I was pretty down on it.
Yeah.
All right, well, rather than talk about things that I might watch, I'm just going to go back to Mason because, you know, he actually watched things. So what's your next one, Mason?
This next one will be quick because the show itself is quick. And I want to mention Kannagi has I just want to warn people, just has the slightest bit of ecchi in it. It's not the end of the world. This show also has just the slightest bit of ecchi, but it's part of the humor. So this show is called Henkei Shoujo. Henkei Shoujo. You can find it on YouTube. It takes about 10 minutes to watch. It's 5 episodes, each of which are 2 minutes. And I don't want to spoil it because the whole point is that it's a dumb, stupid comedy. And this is definitely best watched as a group watch. Get a bunch of people together in a room and be like, okay, what are we about to witness? And essentially, it's a magical girl transformation show where they transform into something unexpected, and I'll put it like that. It's it's very stupid and very dumb, but every time I watch it, I think I like it more and more. It's a good time. It's very low budget. It's very bad. So
Are you
I'm not
sure
gonna
you
say
can't
more.
tell me what they transform into? Or would that
No,
be too massive of a spoiler?
it's literally the only punchline it has going for it, and it's the same
Okay,
punchline
well,
in
I'm just
every
gonna look it up
episode.
because
I'll
I know
drop
I'm
it.
not going to watch the show.
I'll drop it in the Twitch chat. It's
Okay.
God, it's so stupid. It's so bad. Um, yeah, it's 5 minutes long. Each is like 1 minute because once you take out the
Oh.
opening. There you go. So Caroline, we can move on back to you before we get to the good stuff.
Okay. I also watched or finished up watching Slime 300. I'm not going to say the entire name of the show because I don't think I could possibly remember
Don't
it.
bother.
But
Just
it's
an
about
isekai.
that.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's an isekai, but I still really enjoyed it. It was it's about this girl isekai'd into another world. She just wanted to live a relaxing life. Then 300 years later, she is the most powerful witch in the land, and then she just keeps on attracting a lot of people, and then they form like a little family. It's cute. The only thing that was not entirely cute is that sometimes they do get into a little bit more of the inappropriate family, quote unquote, kind of things that happen in anime. So it's like she has these girls just falling at her feet sometimes in a very inappropriate way. And apart from that, it was a really sweet show. I know it's like two very different things being put together as kind of gross and being really sweet, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad I watched it. Was not fitting for a review anyway, so that's fine. But if you're looking for a show about just a bunch of girls living their best life and sometimes being a little bit inappropriate, it's a good show.
What about if I want a show with really big hats?
Oh, that's definitely this show.
Big hats?
Massive hats.
What?
Yeah, the main
Her hat
character.
is like
she
larger
has
than her.
This is so silly.
It's definitely a really cool style. She looks great in her massive hat.
The show is Slime 300 Avatar, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's essentially
like,
the backstory
I
for
have
Big
been
Hat
killing
Logan.
slimes for the past 300 years and maxed out my level or something like that.
I was thinking of a different anime. I thought you were talking about the slime, the one where it's like the time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Oh no, different one.
That's what you thought when I put it on the impressions list as well.
But I know what you're talking about
I
now.
remember
This is the one where he's like where they're talking about like how slimes like multiply or whatever at the very beginning.
I don't quite remember that, but
He's like a little kid living in
I
the
don't know.
woods by himself with just a bunch of slimes.
no, it's
God,
about
how many
this
slime
girl.
anime are there?
I don't know. Apparently more than I
Apparently
thought.
there's 3 of them at least. God, good lord.
This one has like the least amount to do with slimes. So this is more like the slimes are just there at the very beginning.
Well, do you guys have anything else you want to mention? We're kind of running a little long.
Yeah, I'll do these really quick and just disregard a couple hours of talking. Rundown of the last season's shows that I thought were above average, that are worth watching, that we're not going to do a review on. So, Super Cub. This was super chill, super laid back, that's the adjective I'm using. It was great. It made me want to explore, made me want to go on road trips, it made me want to get a cub, and it's a really good time. I enjoyed Super Cub. Thumbs up. Pretty Boy Detective Club. This is the Nisio Eason Shaft show. This was super up and down. It was broken into arcs where they have obviously different mysteries. Some were really good, some were really not good. At the end of the day, I thought it was all right. Definitely a fan of if you like that style. Otherwise, probably worth skipping. But the animation in the last episode was phenomenal, enough to push it over the edge of being average. Thumbs up. Those Snow White Notes, that's the Shamisen show. That's had some of the best music from all of last season. Just the performances were far and away 10 out of 10 moments, highlights, captured it so well. The rest of the show was a little all over the place and a mess, but overall I enjoyed my time with it. Thumbs up. Backflip, best sports show of last season. It was very much by the numbers, but it showed that when you do things by the numbers, it can still be pretty satisfying. Looked really cool. It had the phenomenal soundtrack as well. It's the rhythmic gymnastics show, and it was a fun time. So thumbs up. And finally, Link Click was actually recommended to me by the Eggman in our Discord. It's the Chinese show. Gave it a shot, and it was really mysterious and compelling and fun, and a great ending to lead to hopefully a second season. So thumbs up on all of those shows. Check them out.
Okay, and lastly on mine, I finished The Saints' Magic Powers Omnipotent, also from a previous season of a show that I did not pass. Unfortunately, I was not probably as good as Slime of 300 for me. It's more of like a romance isekai, and while the romance I kind of enjoyed, the animation quality just dropped significantly. Like, it's like PowerPoint presentation in terms of any sort of fighting that happens in this show. So unfortunately, the show kind of fell off the end a little bit, but some parts of it were still enjoyable. So if you like an isekai with some romance in it and a superpowered main character, that's for you. Also, there is a absolute asshole. His name's Kyle. Of course he is.
Kyle.
And also Kyle. It's Prince Kyle.
It's random as shit for an anime. Kyle. What?
I know. He's like, Kayaru. Anyway, so I also am continuing with Moribito. We watched it in our anime club. It was a great show for the first 12 episodes, which is what we were talking about in Anime Club. I am now on episode 17. It's still going pretty good, still enjoying it. Honestly, I don't know why more people don't talk about this show more often, and unfortunately don't really have the time to go quite into the weeds of it. But anything you'd like to say on Moribito?
It's good.
It's
I've
really
talked about
good.
it before.
I think it gets a little slow in the middle, but the beginning is just, edge of your seat type stuff. So.
And Balsa is bae. She is so good.
I mean, I think
her.
literally in September of last year, I did a waifu wars on Balsa. So there you go.
There you go.
So yeah, watch Moribito.
Well,
so shall we go to our intro trivia question?
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. In Godzilla Singular Point, actually not in that show, what am I talking about? Godzilla Singular Point is the first televised animated feature of the Godzilla franchise since what late 90s show? If you can name it, you get a pat on the back. Until then, we'll see you in just a bit. See you then.
Hey, Anime Addicts, Mitsugi is here, and I'm bringing you your anime news. Starting off with a big second season an anime announcement. Record of Ragnarok is going to be getting a second anime season. This was announced fairly recently. And for those of you that haven't seen the first season, it looks like Cartoon Network is going to be airing the first season on Sundays starting at 11 p.m. on October 3rd and beyond. So if you want to watch the first season, you can do it there. Record of Ragnarok adapts Shinya Umemura and Takumi Fukui and an illustrator Aji Chika's dark fantasy battle action manga that started in Comic Xenon in November of 2017. The story is about the gods who live high above the worlds of man, and they convene and decide on a single matter, the continued existence of mankind, and under the head of Zeus, the deities of ancient Greece and Norse mythology and other religions call an assembly every 1,000 years to decide the fate of humanity. But because of their unrelenting abuse towards each other and the planet, the time the gods vote unanimously in favor to end the human race is here. So for those of you that are fans of this anime property, look out for it coming up here pretty soon. Next up, Japan. For those of you that are traveling to Japan or wanted to be traveling to Japan, it looks like it's pretty bleak for you here, as it is for myself in the near future. As of August 17th, Japan wrote an article on Reuters.com that Japan has extended its state of emergency lockdown measures due to COVID-19 in Tokyo and beyond. The state of emergency, which is the fourth one in Japan so far, is going to be expiring on August 31st. but they extended it to September 12th. Tokyo had 4,377 coronavirus cases on Tuesday. So it looks like, quote from the Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, the Delta variant raging across the world is causing unprecedented cases in our country. Serious cases are increasing rapidly and severely burdening the medical system. So if you're just don't go to Japan right now. You're gonna waste your money on flights and whatnot. Next up, Mamoru Oshii's Ghost in the Shell film is getting an IMAX screening in the USA and in Japan. Bandai Namco announced recently that they're going to be streaming the 4K remastered version of the 1995 Ghost in the Shell film on September 17th. So for those of you that are big fans of Ghost in the Shell, get your tickets. The 4K remaster will screen in 35 IMAX theaters in Japan, with regular screenings starting on October 1st. And it's going to be getting a similar release across the United States. So look out for it. You'll want to watch that for sure. And lastly, a popular manga serialization is ending. Seitokai Yakuin Domo is going to be ending its 15-year serialization with the 22nd volume in January of 2022, according to the 21st shipped volume that came out, which is where it was announced. The 51st issue of Weekly Shonen Magazine is going to be publishing this final chapter, so if you're a fan of Weekly Shonen Magazine and Seitokai Yakuin Domo, savor it, as I hoped you savored this news break, because it is over. Now time to get back to the podcast right now. Hey, Anime Addicts, this podcast is brought to you by nobody. And if you want to help keep this podcast ad-free, you can go to www.aa. You know what? Honestly, guys, if you haven't supported the podcast by now, there's literally nothing I can do to make you support the podcast. Even the sight of my tears and my begging and crying and clawing will not get you to support the podcast. But if you did find it in your heart somewhere to support us, you can do it over at aapodcast.com/join. You can also go to patreon.com/AAA podcast. Throw us a couple bones. We will be ad-free. You'll get hentai. You'll get hobby addicts. You'll get... You know what we have. Honestly, just help us out. We're desperate here.
Hey, this is Joe Zeech, voice of Claude from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Welcome back to the Anime Addicts Podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. I realized it wasn't even on camera, and I was doing all this dancing and shit. Forgot to turn the camera on.
You're just staying on brand. You refuse to dance. You'll do eye drops in front of the camera, but dancing? Nay, he says. Not for me. As those sweet, sweet, dulcet tones of YouTube copyright strikes come pouring through.
Fuck YouTube! Fuck them! Alright. Well, when we left, we had a trivia question. Godzilla Singular Point is the first televised anime feature in the franchise since what late 90s show? Godzilla the series. Interesting.
Captain Avatar got that right.
Only 90s kids know the answer to that one. Hashtag relatable, hashtag throwback, hashtag Fox Kids. Oh my goodness, what a time to be alive.
I'm even older than that. I grew up on the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, which is Barbera Godzilla, which has got to be boy, I don't even know how old that shit is, but pretty fucking old. Let me see. Hanna-Barbera Godzilla was from, oh my god, 1978 to 1981. So boy, I'm old as shit. I'm like almost dead.
But
Just
we already
bury me.
knew that.
Bury me now. All right. Well, Mason is always watching anime. He's keeping us on our toes and giving you good recommendations. It's time for another Unexplored Pictures. Are you ready?
I am.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for Unexplored Pictures with Mason.
I know we've been doing a lot of these recently. It's just the season for movies. I promise we'll take a break moving forward, but I couldn't not talk about probably the most important anime to come out this year easily, which is Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time, aka I'm just going to call it 4.0 for the purpose of this talk. Eva, I mean, it's a series with a lot of history. I'm sure Mitz is going to drop some certain drops along the way, but I think it comes in with a lot of baggage. So, just to be upfront, I am personally a fan of Eva. I think the main series is fantastic. I think the end of Eva is brutally fantastic. I think the rebuilds, which is 1, 2, 3, and this 4, they look very streamlined and crisp. They are earnestly true to the original directing, but they drifted in a way that I didn't enjoy. They kind of forsook the characters that I knew and loved to focus on action and bombast. And I'm fine with changes and remixes, but they took almost every character and plot stake and made it just a shadow of what it was in the original that I was kind of peeved with them. So I wasn't a huge fan. So it's like Eva was a great building that was like torn down and a new building is in its place, and the new building is fine, but it's not the same as the original. It's like when the band you like puts out a new album after their masterpiece. Like, yeah, it's not bad, but you'd rather just listen to the original, you know what I mean? So that said, I didn't really love 1.0. I thought 2.0 was better, and I think a lot of the issues with 2.0 were addressed and even rectified with 3.0, which itself was not very good. So I came into 4.0 with like distant optimism, hoping that like the movies before it, it would kind of like replicate those effects and kind of rebuild the rebuild series and give all those movies that I wasn't quite feeling the last little bit they needed to do to kind of redeem themselves. So this movie starts off right following up with 3.0's ending shot, and this movie is long. It's like 2.5 hours long. So
God.
it's quite the journey. And I'm not going to spoil anything along this way, so don't worry. But essentially, the first 40 minutes after opening blistering fight sequence against a squadron of angels, like, is definitely relaxed and chilled. Like, it gives the characters time and opportunity to be themselves. They just kind of ease into like a normal everyday life. Rei is adorably clueless. Asuka is abrasive and often not wearing pants for some reason. And Shinji is depressed and all is right with the world. And
What else is new?
Exactly, but this was definitely the part of the movie that was really strong for me. It definitely gave the characters what I think they were lacking across the previous 3 movies, and I was down with it. And as the sides start to gear up for the big showdown, symbolic acts like tying bandanas around arms to deliver weight. It's simple, but it delivered a message. And I think we've kind of reached a point where the rebuild series have escaped the orbit of the original, and it's kind of allowed to exist as its own story and not tied down to me saying, oh, but the original did it better. Like, now they've become so disparate that it can kind of be judged on its own terms. And let's be honest, visually, this is the best the series has ever looked. Even when the CG gets pushed a little too far, the purpose, the ambition, and like the intensity that it provides kind of helps justify the execution hiccups. And there's definitely a cinematic feel to this movie that I enjoyed. I mean, of course, it's a movie, but like some anime movies just look like TV shows with a nice coat of paint. This feels and looks like a movie in whatever cinematic definition you want to use. And while the fan service was admittedly a bit too much, it wasn't entirely irksome. It kind of worked. So I would say overall I was positive for this movie about 70% of the time. The visuals, the writing, the entertainment, I was vibing with all of it. There's certainly a patch in the middle where I started to fall out of favor. The elements started becoming flatter and flatter. And while it had some nice callbacks for visual moments, like the cracks began the show, and like the foundational basis of the entire story came from like these rushed transitions that like stumbled as it shuffled from one like set piece to the next, where the CG was at an all-time low, and it kind of just was like, oh no, we're going back down the tracks into bad territory. But it really zipped right back up at the end, and I came away enjoying this movie more than any of the other rebuilds. And if ended with an absolutely bop of an Utada song that closes it off.
Utada's so good.
Listen, it's probably worth watching 2.5 movies just for the ending alone. Will I say, is it worth watching the rebuilds when compared to the original? No, I think the original is still the high water mark of the series. But if you decide to go down this wild ride with Anno, you'll have something worthwhile at the end of your journey to look forward to, and kind of ties together not just the rebuilds, but all the spin-offs, the side stories, and the original as well into a nice little bow. So I came away positive from 4.0. Recommend checking it out if you're somewhat a fan of Eva, and if you've never seen the show, watch the original and tell me what a shitburger it is. So that was it.
Oh, is that the drop you wanted?
Yeah, but I already
I
ate
didn't
this
want it.
shitburger.
There you go.
But I knew it was coming. So yeah, Eva 4.0, 2 thumbs up. It was good.
All right, as I destroy our cameras on Twitch somehow. Oh, how do I do this on Twitch? I'm just like, click a button.
What are you trying to do?
I don't know. I just wrecked
Oh,
the
just
cameras.
switch. Yeah, we get that intense zoom in of Caroline.
Oh dear God, is there an intense zoom in on me? Oh
That
God,
wasn't
no!
bad.
I just saw it.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag.
Oh, we can't even dance. Oh, we still will
Anime.
dance. We're dancing in spirit.
Anime.
People who are listening,
Anime.
they don't know any better.
Mailbag.
I
All right, if you want
dance.
to submit a
have to believe
mailbag,
me.
go to the website aaapodcast.com after you're finished contributing to the podcast at /join, which we appreciate very much. You can just leave a mailbag. Listen, if you can't contribute to the podcast either, I recommend just leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or wherever you listen. You know, leaving reviews is about as important as anything. So hook us up and leave your mailbags, people. Click that mailbag button on the website. Silent Screamer writes, I have 2 questions, of course. See, this is the technique here. Silent Screamer's like, oh, I'm just going to write 2 mailbags and put them in the same question. I see what you did there. Are there any characters that you guys think didn't get enough attention? Like if they showed up once in a blue moon, did something, then disappeared for a while, only to come back for like a scene, then repeat. And I just had this conversation with Pancake like a couple weeks ago. We said that, I said, who are your favorite characters from Great Teacher Onizuka? And she said Ryuji. And I was like, oh, Ryuji. I was like, you mean the guy that works on the motorcycles? And she goes, yeah. And so I think Ryuji Danma, he's in the OVA, Shonen Junai Gumi, but, most people haven't seen that. Most people just watch GTO, but he's like probably in GTO for a total of like 10 minutes. Like he's really not in there very much. It's really all about Onizuka, which Onizuka's the better personality, but Ryuji's pretty fucking cool. So Ryuji Danma, I'd give him a little more love. Well, how about you guys?
So in Vinland Saga, it's Thorfinn's sister. Her name's like Ylva. I don't remember how it's pronounced, but it's Thorfinn's sister. And I honestly think that she would have been a more interesting character to follow because she is a badass Viking woman, and she was unwanted by her father initially. So I would be interested to know about that kind of relationship. But no, we're stuck with freaking Thorfinn, the whiny,
It's not her story.
angsty teenager. And I do like Thorfinn in some aspects, but she is cooler than him. And here she is being stuck in a house as probably a housewife doing nothing much else than that. And we'll probably get to her in the anime eventually, but probably not nearly as much as she deserves. At least she needs a B plot. She's worth a B plot, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
What do you mean, sure?
I'm with you. I totally agree.
Okay. I thought you were saying like sure as in like, yeah, okay. Like, not.
Are you trying to start some shit?
No, I'm not trying to start some
Let's
shit.
fucking-
I thought you were
okay.
trying to start some
All right.
shit. Nobody wants to see that.
Taking his shirt off. Getting intense. I honestly was too lazy to think of an answer to this question, but I just thought of one, so I'm going to say the Skull Knight from Berserk. And if you're saying, wait, who is that character? Exactly.
The second question in the mailbag was, are there any characters that you think were written off badly, like if they were killed in the dumbest way for said character, or they just went on a trip and never came back, etc.? So probably some spoilers here for sure, since we're talking about characters that like were written off badly. I think Caesar from that middle portion of JoJo, the Battle Tendency, he had a fucking bad death. I mean, he basically he's like JoJo's equal. He's like training with JoJo. They're all best buddies, and then he just like kind of goes off and fucking gets killed randomly, and then he like gets crushed by a rock. Like it's just like the worst death ever, and he just kind of goes off and self-destructs and never really accomplishes anything. I don't know. It's kind of a shitty death, and he's a fucking cool character. I thought Caesar he got it bad.
The twinge of pain when someone refers to part 2 as the middle part of JoJo, and you're like, oof,
whatever. That's what made him the TV. It's like technically what? That's like the third.
It's just under the midpoint, yeah. It's the second of 5.
I'll show you a twinge of pain, Mason.
Ooh, I'll take you up on that, buddy.
Yeah, let's fucking go.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Oh. How about you, Caroline?
I was on that topic with Vinland Saga, and it made me think of the way... Okay, so this isn't really a spoiler because it happened like the first 3 episodes, so not really all that much of a spoiler, but the dad, Taurus, dies in what I thought was an extremely strange way, but nobody talks about it as if it was. Because here he is, whilst being shot with 100 arrows, he is still standing up. And if that's not weird enough, he is still standing up after he dies. He takes his last breath. Thorfinn is crying at his feet, and he is just like standing there with 100 arrows penetrated his body, as if that's
your body
not
locks
enough.
up when you die.
What?
Yeah, your body locks up. You get all rigid.
Yeah, sure. You get rigid after maybe an hour. This is like a freshly dead body. He doesn't fall over or anything. He's just standing there like a corpse.
No.
Well, he is a corpse, but it's just weird. It's like Dracula just rising up from his coffin or something. I don't know why.
It was so sudden. He forgot about gravity.
I don't know why.
He was so surprised. He's like, oh, I forgot to fall.
It's just so strange to me. It's not out of character or necessarily bad. It's just weird. And nobody else thinks it is. And I just want to make that clear. I also mentioned back in our Megalobox Nomad review, spoilers for Megalobox Nomad, I thought Chief's death, was just way too sudden and unexplained, as I mentioned in the review. So there you go.
Thor's is also he deserved to die simply for what a terrible negotiator he is. I mean, didn't he trade like 20 sheep for like one busted up slave dude? I mean,
that he did.
I mean, that's bro. Oh boy, he needs to take some negotiating classes. All right.
Yeah.
Mason, did you?
My final answer. No spoilers. I was going to say there's a character at the end of Wolf's Reign who is not around with the rest of the crew in the final shots, and it wasn't like they were poorly written off, but I was just like, well, why aren't they there? What happened to them? And I think there's some explanations, but it's not very good and not very clear. So that character from Wolf's Reign. There you go.
All right. Well, we're going to do our review on Godzilla here. Godzilla Singular Point. And by the way, thank you for the mailbag, screaming silent screamer. So thank you for slipping two. Thank you for just slipping 2 of them in there too, because sneakiness. So Godzilla Singular Point, spring 2021 anime. This is one of mine. I passed it. I am an absolute sucker for Godzilla. It was almost just inevitable, honestly. I've seen most of the Godzilla Hollywood films. I've seen the old cartoon. I've seen, I don't know. I've seen a lot of stuff. So this is on Netflix if you want to watch it, and that's pretty much the only place I think you're going to find it. And I'm thankful it's on Netflix, and I'm thankful. You know what? I'm thankful that HBO Max doesn't license anime, because their app is dog shit. They have They have such cojones to charge $16 for that fucking monthly subscription, because that is the biggest pile of shit app I've ever seen. That app is slow as crap. it crashes all the time. It even crashes like the PlayStation. It'll wipe the PlayStation. I like restart it. Oh my God, it's just.
I told you it was
is
bad.
unbelievable that a company with as much money as HBO can make an app that shitty. You know it's bad when the Retro Crush app works better than the HBO Max app, because like Retro Crush I think has no money whatsoever. But anyway, that's an aside. It's fucking terrible. The series features an original story by Studio Bones, which depicts the young geniuses of Mei Kamino, who's a female researcher, and Yoon Arikawa, who's a male engineer. And they take on the unprecedented threat with their companions. And when danger comes up from the depths 30 stories high, breathing fire, his head in the sky, it's Godzilla. Mei, Yoon, and their team face the threat of Godzilla and Godzilla Singular Point.
You're not going to add on the final best part of that song?
Godzuki.
Thank you. That's all I look forward to when you sing it.
That's a good theme song. Directed by Takahashi Atsushi, who directed Ride Back, which is a pretty solid anime as well. A pretty interesting show too. I recommend people go watch Ride Back from not way back, but from at least 10 years ago. And so what did you guys expect going into this? I'll start with Mason. What were your thoughts when you began this Godzilla show?
Well, I watched this a long time ago, actually, when it first dropped on Netflix, when we were doing impressions and stuff. And I am moderately a fan of Godzilla. I mean, I like the Shin Godzilla and new stuff, but unlike you, I did not grow up on any sort of Godzilla stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that look, but it seemed like it was bold and interesting and new. And I was kind of going in with just I like Bones. I like Studio Orange, who they were co-producing it with for the CG. And I just like original shows for how inventive they can be. So I was intrigued going in.
How about you, Caroline?
I've actually never seen any Godzilla anything. Just because I wouldn't even know where to start. Because there's so much to this franchise, and I don't want to go slog through some random Godzilla movie or show that is not very good. And of course, I've seen the 2 newer movies come out, but I know those probably are not one of the better ones to watch. So I was interested to get into this because I was always interested in the whole kaiju thing, but I just, again, did not really know where to start. And so I just wanted to see what this would be about. And I was excited to see Godzilla, though, unfortunately, it did take a while.
All right. In my expectations, I mean, I'd already watched a big chunk of this, and I'm not really sure what I expected, really. I mean, I was just intrigued by the story in the beginning. I was like, oh, these they call them Rodan, but let's be honest, they're fucking pterodactyls. These pterodactyls are flying onto the land. It's where the hell are they coming from? There was a lot of interesting stuff happening in the first 3 episodes, and there was a lot of intrigue. But of course, everybody expects, the expectation is that Godzilla will appear and be a thing. So that's that was always there.
His name title, so yeah.
So yeah, he's in the title. Hey, it's in the name. Mason.
This show is not called Rodan.
No, definitely not. Thankfully.
Big dinos.
The land before time.
Would you recommend this anime, Mason? What is your spoiler-free recommendation?
My spoiler-free recommendation is, for most people, I do not recommend Godzilla Singular Point. I think if you are hyper into hard science fiction, if you love deep lore of time travel shows, if you're someone who watches, Primer, and it's oh, I'm going to rewatch this movie 7 times, get all the layers and depths and intricacies of it, and go online and look up, whoa, what does everything mean? How does the scientific process work? If you are into that, this show is excellent. I love how it uses this hard sci-fi as a way within the Godzilla sphere to link not just, how did weird creatures come onto land and invade Earth, but all of the Godzilla's AU gets kind of roped into this quantum flux, and it's super cool, and I love it for that. But it drops the ball on almost every other factor. Yes, it looks good. Yes, it sounds good, but the writing outside of the science fiction is so bland and rough that it just was hard to get invested episode after episode. So for most people, I'd say it's probably worth skipping.
How about you, Caroline? What were your would you recommend this show, and if so, to whom?
I'd probably say about the same as Mason. It is a lot to get through in terms of very sciencey terms and concepts that they go through very quickly. And if you're not catching on as they're saying it, you're probably not going to get it. So if you are the type of person that likes to dig deep, rewatch, try to figure out this world, then yeah, this one has a lot to go for. It's also very ambitious. That is the least I can say about that. It's not lazy in a way that a lot of anime are these days. It also looks pretty good. I would say the music is very good. It's hard to follow, and if you are not into that very hard science fiction stuff, it is going to be a little bit of a slog.
For me, I really wanted to like this anime a lot. It does have things about it that are exceptional. I think it looks great. I think the music's great. I like the character designs. I even like the damn Jet Jaguar design. The mecha design is interesting. I love Godzilla. You know, I love that it's original. But the anime, as Mason said, and for me, like, look, the anime is way too gobbledygooky. I mean, if you're gonna watch this show, you really have to put in like the work on it. Like, there's literally phrases in. I checked out like around episode 9. I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and like pause the show and like think about things they say and rewatch scenes. Like, I'm just not going to. And honestly, I feel like you're gonna need to at times, because when they say things like, let's see, it was.
But we need to use a tesseract to send through archetypes as polymorphic hash code. If you don't know what all those things mean, like that's not like what'd you call it? That's not like mumbo jumbo. That's not like the timey-wimey phaser transformorphic. Like, they're not just saying stuff because it sounds sciencey. Like, no, those words all mean something and have relevance. And if you do not know what each of those things are, you will be lost.
To create an archetype, we have to have an archetype. And to create it, and to have an archetype, we have to have a computer full of singular points so that we can activate the orthogonal diagonalizer. Like, that's literally like give me a fucking break. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like look up what like polymorphous hash code is to watch a fucking anime. I'm just not. And some people might. Some people are going to pop a huge boner. They're going to cream their pants. They're going to go, oh my God, polymorphous hash code. Oh. You know, it's going to be like this thing. And if that's you, that's fucking great. You're gonna love this anime. You're gonna be dying for the second season. But you know, if you're Mitz, you're like, I am not gonna put forth the effort on this. Like, I'm done. I'm not working anymore. I'm not being paid. I'm not writing code at work right now. And so, no, I would not recommend this show. I honestly think probably, like Mason said, only the extreme like science fiction folks are gonna love this anime. You know, and that's about it. Because it's not like it's just a couple info dumps. The show hammers you. Like, there's whole 10-minute segments where they're talking about polymorphous hash code and all this shit. And it's just like, it's not like a sporadic thing. It is literally how the story is delivered. And if you can't,
like, it's made even worse by the fact they're talking about this through this text message system between the two main characters, and it goes by so quickly. Like, you see all these texts, like, they are just like rattling through because they send multiple messages to explain one thing, including little emojis and gifs and stuff like that. Don't know why they have time for that in the end of the world, but they do apparently. And it's just so distracting when you're just trying to figure out what the heck they are talking about. But we really should have realized what kind of show this would be when literally you find out that that May, one of the main characters, her major in college was study of things that do not even exist in this world. As her major in college. Like, how do you study that?
I don't know. I'm not even going to get into that. But
there are real world things that study stuff like that. It's not like that far-fetched.
I guess in theory, yeah, because like there's things called black holes, and in theory there are things called white holes, but we have not discovered them, but we can mathematically assume they exist. So in that aspect, I get studying things that are not proven to have existed, but she's talking about alternate universes that we don't even know about.
Hi, we can say that. We don't need to get caught up. Let's
yeah, I know.
Hi, I went to college.
Yeah, sorry.
I went to college and majored in fairy tales. Like, you know, whatever. Anyway, we're gonna get into spoilers right now, but we will talk about it more on the other side.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god.
So where do we start?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know how to talk about the story because around episode 9, I decided that I wasn't gonna watch any more of the code talk bullshit, and I just started fast forwarding through it and watched like the action scenes and some of the slower scenes. And when they started talking about like decimals written backwards, like I was like, okay, fuck. I was like, okay, I just don't, I'm not gonna sit here and like rack my brain about fucking math while I'm watching anime. So fast forward, and then anytime that May, what the fuck's her name? I gotta pull up the cast list here. Oh, there's no spoiler sign on Twitch. Good lord, but you have ears, you can hear the drop. People are so needy.
They're just looking out for us. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So Godzilla Singular Point. So May, she's very cute, by the way. May Kamino.
I like her.
I like the shot of her like sleeping at the ending video. She just looks like she's drooling all over her books. May
that
is
polka dot stingray Edie.
It's very cute. Whenever May, this is how I feel about this show. At least originally, whenever May was on the screen, it was like, science class, like, at like a PhD level, I'm like, okay, not really following. And then like whenever Yoon and Habedu, which he's in the show a lot, but I didn't know what his name was. It's like when they're on the screen, it's like, oh, time to fight Rodans. Like it's basically like how the show was for at least the first half. But then by about episode 9, it was just science talk the whole time. Even with Yoon and Habedu. Habedu clearly doesn't get it. You can tell he doesn't follow.
Yeah, I'm like wondering what his purpose is in this company, because he honestly does not offer anything to the team. And well, actually no, that title belongs to that random girl on their team that never leaves the office. I'm like, why is she even a character?
Why do they have Godzilla
if it was
listed?
a team of scientists of just 2 people, you'd be like, well, how did these people do everything? Like, it can't all be the brainiacs of the operation.
That's actually one of my gripes with the show, is that literally the fate of this universe is down to 2 people. That is Mei and Yun. And the absolute, like, it's just crazy to me that it doesn't seem like anybody else does anything. They have these teams of scientists, teams of soldiers trying to fight the kaiju. And if it wasn't for Mei thinking of every single concept in this show, and Yun trying to figure out how to make the Jet Jaguar work and like and getting the AI, if it wasn't for them 2 and their respective AI, literally the world would have ended instantaneously.
I mean, first of all, other people have different agendas. Second of all, you're missing the most important character, more important than Mei or Yoon. So let's not give them all the credit.
The old man.
Ashura, yeah, like he's the one who set everything up. He's the one who sent stuff from the future back in time for them to receive it. So
I didn't understand who he was. I didn't understand how he did any of it, because
they were sending shit through the future. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that was the whole point of the hash code, is they could only send it back from the future without interrupting the time loop if it was like undecipherable when it was sent back. That's the whole point of it.
I mean, some parts I did understand to a certain extent, and when I did understand them, I did find it very interesting. Like the messages they had to write in code, so it didn't automatically register that this is information, because that would have caused a time loop or paradox or whatever. So when I kind of understood things, it was interesting. The show is very ambitious, and when it actually clicked, it was great. But when it didn't, which was 90% of the time, it was just, what?
And that's something, I don't know if you can blame the show for that. It just is trying to tell an ambitious story. So this was written by Toenjo, who is like a PhD mathematical physicist who like studies natural languages. And he worked in the field for like many years before becoming a writer. And like, that's his forte. And if we've seen thousands of other anime that are so like basic, where we're like, oh, we get you don't need to explain it, like we don't need it spelled out for us. And now all of a sudden, when a show is a little bit harder, yeah, we can say it's difficult to follow, be warned, but I don't know if we can hold the show accountable for, expecting a bit more out of the viewer. I think it doesn't work well. It makes it a pain to read because we're big dummies, but I can't fault the show for that.
I mean, it's...
They got to understand who their audience is.
Yeah,
though.
I mean...
For the most part, people don't have PhDs. And if you're asking for an audience to enjoy the show, you can't just assault them with terminology and knowledge that they're not prepared to understand.
You don't have to have a PhD to understand the show. You have to have the patience to give a fuck, honestly. And, I mean... I don't know. I mean, like, you know... I just think
it
most
does
people,
what it does well. It's just not for everyone.
Most people just aren't going to put in the effort. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line.
Exactly.
In my opinion. The most important.
I get that.
The most important thing is that the thing that kind of burned me up a little bit was like Godzilla looks like shit in this. He looks fucking terrible. Everybody always wants to know, oh, what does Godzilla look like? He's been butchered before. You know, it's like the 2000 Godzilla movie. He looks like a fucking iguana.
This is not the worst Godzilla we've seen.
It's
but
not
it's
the
not
worst,
best.
but it's in the bottom 20% probably. I mean, he looks
definitely not as good as the Godzilla anime movies that came out, the trilogy. Those looked really cool.
So, like,
is that the best representation of Godzilla, you think?
No.
There's a specific representation of Godzilla where he looks the same that he's supposed to look. Like if you watch Godzilla versus King Kong, Godzilla looks normal in that. He looks like a thick boy walking on two legs. His legs are thick as fuck. He's got smallish arms, but he's you know somewhere between a T-Rex and like a Stegosaurus kind of, because he's got the spiky plates. But he's definitely like an upright walking, you know, dinosaur-looking motherfucker with a long tail, and his head has a certain look to it. And the Godzilla in this just didn't look right to me. I don't know. I mean, that's just how I view it. And even if you go on like my anime list and look up the cast list, which I think it's hilarious, they have both Rodan and Godzilla listed under the cast. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right.
I think Godzilla looks a little too turtley in this one. He's too round.
Yeah, he's too low to the ground, and he just doesn't look right.
If I can have a quick tangent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's that one kaiju? He was not in this one. What's that one kaiju's name with the three heads like a dragon?
Ghidorah.
Ghidorah?
King Ghidorah.
Yep.
Okay, so I've never, again, seen any of kaiju films or anything like that, but I know what that kaiju looks like. And I always think he looks like a very, very chunky Dotrio. Like, not Dotrio, the Pokemon with the three heads.
I know who you're
like
talking
an
about.
ostrich.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, except like...
Yeah, he just looks so chonky. It's so strange because he doesn't have any arms, and yet he has these three heads, a giant body, and two tree trunk-like legs.
Ghidorah's a fucking badass, and he's
I
gigantic.
wanted to see him in this, but unfortunately he did not appear.
Ghidorah is huge, even by Godzilla standards. I mean, he is... he's like probably 10 times as big as Godzilla.
Ghidorah is also like endgame territory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured that's why.
Yeah, when Ghidorah's around, you're like at the end of times, pretty much. They fucking destroy the shit out of Tokyo in this anime. I mean,
oh yeah,
Godzilla is like
his beam was cool.
His laser breath was fine. He's like, I'm gonna laser breath the shit out of this place. And then not to jump right to the ending, but just to talk about how they just destroyed the hell out of Tokyo. Pancake walked in, didn't watch any of this show, and she was like, she checked out like in episode 3 or something, and at the end, and this is like massive spoilers. At the end, when they, I guess, activate the orthogonal diagonalizer or whatever the fuck, and it turns all the red.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is, and I don't really care. I described it as
Sorry, you go ahead.
It's a cylinder with green shit in it with a floating ball in it.
It's an archetype that is used to control the red dust archetypes.
Oh, that's the bomb they throw, and it creates red dust.
It makes all the red dust like solidify.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was cool. I didn't know that was what they were talking about, though.
Well, at the end, they activate it or whatever, and it turns like, it changes all the red dust into like these blue spikes. And it just like, the spikes do more damage to Tokyo than Godzilla ever did. Like, there's like 4 massive like spikes through every building, through everything, and I think Pancake was like, oh, that's better. like you got rid of Godzilla, but you just straight up just obliterated every still standing structure in the city with these like blue spikes. I guess there was really no way out of it, but I just thought it was humorous that like they saved the city, but there couldn't have been anybody still alive in that city. I mean, they fucking destroyed the shit out of Tokyo.
Yeah.
There goes Tokyo. Go Godzilla. Woo.
Woo. That's actually another point I wanted to bring up was the fact that they made it seem like Tokyo was evacuated, and if it was, that would have taken a very long time, and it would have brought a lot of chaos to the whole country of Japan because you have one of the largest cities in the world evacuated because of a giant monster. And you get vision, like you are brought to different places around Tokyo and around the world, and the entire world is being attacked by these monsters in different locations. And they're acting like it's business as usual. People are going to restaurants. People are flying
got
airplanes.
their own lives to live.
They got life to live.
You don't think I'm not going to go out to eat? The boys got to eat.
Sure, but they're literally acting as if there is not extra dimensional monsters attacking the entire planet, and that billions of people are displaced from. Maybe not billions, but definitely millions of people are displaced from their homes because of the giant monster in Tokyo.
Mason, would you like to talk about the plot of this anime? Because I know that you enjoy the science stuff, and you probably are the only one that really understands what the hell was going on in this show. So, I mean, do you have an interest in going through that?
Not really. I mean, I kind of touched on it where I was like, yeah, it's cool and how it will kind of bring about a potential way for all of these different Godzilla universes to exist on top of one another, which is neat. And it kind of explains where they're going to go with season 2. But I think as far as the plot of this ragtag group of scientists finding the solution to defeat them is neat. Like, there's not much more to the show beyond it. Like, I don't know. This is less about, because kaiju is usually about, like, I know I'm going to get memed on, but it's about the human condition. It's about how humankind deals with adversity and how we can come together and fight something larger than ourselves. But this is really more about like theoretical physics and mechanisms to facilitate the beast more than like how it changes humankind. So I don't know if there's really a lot to get into.
I would say that my favorite character overall was that AI. I think it was like Pelops or something. I thought she was so funny.
It brought me like a nostalgia for like Saturday morning cartoon vibes. It was a bit silly, but I enjoyed them. I liked it. I want to say Mitz brought up like the staff who worked on like Rodon or whatever. If you look at the staff list for this, let me look it up. There is a role for people listed as quote unquote Godzilla room. I don't know what that is. I want that job. Yeah, you just work in Godzilla room. Do you make Godzilla? Do you make the sound effects for Godzilla? Do you just hang around and say, yeah, Godzilla's cool, right? And you're like, yeah, it is cool, right? Like, what do you do? But I want that job.
I didn't see that, but I definitely want to have that on my resume.
Exactly.
I feel like you would get hired pretty much anywhere if you have Godzilla room on your resume.
I'm fine moving on to visuals because I thought they were really cool. They had these rough outlines, these like vibrant pastel colors, and just really neat parallaxing and CG. Like, it looked good every time except for Godzilla himself, who looked way too animatronic.
I mean, I didn't mind Godzilla all that much. Maybe that's because I don't really know anything better. But I thought the colors were really cool, especially when he has that laser beam and like the entire city's covered in fire. The contrast of colors is really cool.
I thought it looked great. I mean, I'm not very adverse to CG unless it looks really bad. Like, we didn't get very far into Kingdom because it looks so terrible. But like, I thought this looked fine. Like, there is CG in it, but you know, I honestly thought that the character designs are really, really pleasant. I thought that Mei looked great. I thought Yoon looked great. The old man looks great.
Okay, I hated the old man. His voice was so grating. I hated it.
Maybe his voice is, but I mean, his character design.
Oh yeah, I know. I just remembered that's the point that I want to make is how much I disliked him.
Jet Jaguar, like I said, I like Jet Jaguar quite a lot. Although Jet Jaguar, like, boy, that thing goes through a bunch of evolutions throughout this show. It's like, I feel like it went from this robot that had to be like manned by a person and moved around kind of clunkily to like full AI, just supercomputer, super powerful martial arts, all this in like the span of like just an episode or two.
That's where I feel like if I was
Basically
I don't what do they call fans of Godzilla? Kaiju heads, Gojira boys. I don't know what the term. If I was one of those people, like, because Jet Jaguar is a thing in the franchise, in the universe, I think I'd be like super hyped, like, oh, they're doing that version of it or that iteration. But I didn't know any better, so I'm just like, yeah, he powered up, cool.
I thought it was pretty odd. Just on design, since we're kind of talking about that, Jet Jaguar is not a very big robot. For most of the show, he's barely bigger than those fucking spiders that they're fighting for. I don't know. It seemed like 2 straight episodes, but then at the end, he's like straight up as big as Godzilla, and I'm like,
I noticed that too.
He's sized up like big time. Like he like when he grew like what, probably 200 plus feet in height, and like for no apparent reason. Did anybody else find that to be a little strange?
I also thought, like, wow, did they work on his height on the road or something?
If he drank his mass gainer.
Yeah, no shit. But I still like the robot design, and the voice was kind of fun, you know. So
the intro was cool, like the OP.
Yep, by Bish, I guess the intro is by. Is that the right?
Yeah.
Bish.
I don't think there was any other way we could pronounce that.
Yeah, Bish. It was good. I liked it. Yeah, it's just like everything about the show was fine, except that like just the delivery of the story was just a little too much. At least too much for me, at least. You know. But I may not be. I'm the audience, and I'm not the audience, because like I love Godzilla. I will go. I've seen all of the last like 3 or 4 Godzilla movies in theaters. You know, very pleased with the outcome of the Godzilla King Kong movie. I wouldn't put. Can we please not have any more Millie Bobby Brown in the Godzilla movies? She is terrible. But other than that, like, I love Godzilla, but I'm just not. I just don't have the patience at like 9:30 at night when I'm half asleep to like be deciphering science lingo. It's just not gonna happen. And
you wanted Big Dino, and you didn't really get it. That's how I feel.
I feel like they could have figured out a way to stop Godzilla without having to go down the science road, or they could have dumbed down the science talk to the point where like it was digestible without having to put forth a ton of effort. And maybe some people just like have studied science and they don't have to look up hash code and all this. But like for me, like, you know, I have bought and sold cryptocurrency before, which is
pretty much an elite hacker.
Which is I think related to hash because people have people have a hash rate when they're like farming Bitcoin or whatever. But I still don't claim to really understand what that is, and I just think they could have probably delivered the story in a more, you know, intelligible way. And because of that, I'm gonna give the show. I really didn't like the show very much. I'm probably gonna give it like, I don't know, 2 dead Rodan skeletons out of 5. If I can't watch the show, then I can't really give it much of a score. That's kind of how I think it has to be.
Yeah, if you had to skip a bunch of it.
I guess I'll go next. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I am definitely on the boat with Mitsugi. With it just needs. I can't enjoy something when I don't understand it, and it takes too much energy to try to understand it. There were some really great points to the show, as we have mentioned. It looks great. Like, people can say what they want about CGI, but for what it is, it's good. The music I thought was great. The characters, when they were actually doing stuff, were interesting, and I do like our 2 main characters. I liked their AI companions. I thought they were fun. Yeah, it's just when it got bogged down with a lot of exposition and a scientific exposition I couldn't get, it definitely lost a lot of my interest. And so I would also give it a 2 orthogonal diagonalizer singular points out of 5.
Oh my god, I should have gone with that.
I still don't know what a singular point is.
Do you want me to try to explain it, or not?
Sure.
Not worth the effort?
I mean, you can try.
think of a singular point like a time-based black hole. It's such an important event in history that everything in the past and future gets pulled back into it. So essentially, like, Godzilla himself is kind of a big deal, you might say, and his appearance, amongst other big important moments, is a singular point in time in which events from the future can wrap around space and time and come back and reemerge at that point, which is how you send code backwards through time using a tesseract. So a singular point is just a super important moment that acts as a time-based black hole.
Okay.
I don't know. It's been like 3 months since I've seen this show. It's been a hot minute, so maybe it was a little different than that. But that's how I interpreted it. I like the science fiction of this show. I think it was definitely, as we said before, ambitious and not for everyone. I think a certain part of the audience will like it, and the rest will be like, "What? Why bother?" And while I appreciate that, as well as the visuals and sound, I think just the characters and plot outside of that were just so bland. Like, this was a nice addition to the Godzilla lexicon, but it didn't really say anything. I didn't walk away thinking about this show any more than I'm just like, yeah, physics is cool, but I didn't need it through this media. So I thought it just got bogged down in the moments that, while it did that fine, just sacrificed so much else. So I also will give it 2 dimensions out of 5.
Oh, fuck.
Wow,
It's just
really?
like-
I thought you'd
Yeah.
give it a little bit higher than ours.
I mean, I feel like I enjoyed it more because I just maybe understood it, but I also understood that it cost the show a lot of other things. And I wasn't interested in watching show after episode. I appreciated what it was going for, but I don't plan on watching season 2. So maybe a bit harsh, but I didn't think it was good.
Wow.
All
I'm kind
right.
of surprised by that. That's okay, though. I'm glad
That's
we're all
an
on the same
average
page.
of 2 out of 5.
That's math.
I can do math. See, I can possibly understand this anime, that I know that.
There we go. We take that.
Yep. Well, maybe it is about time to close this out.
Do it.
I think so.
If you would like to hear our thoughts outside of this podcast, you can check us out on Twitter. I kind of run the main show Twitter, which is at AAA Podcast. Mitsugi, where are you at?
I'm at Pope Mitsugi, but I actually deleted the Twitter app off my phone, so you're not going to really hear me saying much on there. I'm trying to pull away from social media as much as I can, but if you want to follow me... If you want to follow me anyway, feel free, but I'm going to do my best not to be on Twitter.
Forget that then. Let's head to Mason. Where are you at?
I'm at Macy Pacey. I am almost done with my massive reading of JoJo Part 8 and posting about the manga. So, man, couple chapters away and then I'll have completed the whole thing. So, huzzah, go check that out and listen to me bask in the glory of it. Yeah, it's real good.
All right, and we're also on Facebook, AA Podcast, of course, and also our Discord is filled with good stuff. We have watch parties, we have anime club, manga club, and a lot of other great discussions you can get involved with. Just start one today. So I guess that's it for us. Until next week.
I don't know what we are reviewing next week, but we'll figure it out. We got a pretty short list of stuff from the spring, so we will do one of those. Bye, guys.
See ya.
See you later.